Do you ever feel like Wall Street is just this exclusive club, a game you can't possibly win, that you're just a small-time amateur going up against the pros? Well, what if I told you that legendary investor Peter Lynch, who ran one of the most successful funds in history, thought your amateur status was actually your secret weapon? In this explainer, we're diving into his classic book, One Up on Wall Street, to show you how the key to beating the market might literally be in your shopping cart right now.
So let's just start with this idea from Lynch that completely flips everything on its head. He was convinced that investing is way more of an art than a hard science. He actually believed that the people who are trained to just crunch numbers and follow formulas are at a disadvantage. And get this, he thought the average person, yeah, you, has a massive edge you probably don't even realize you have. Okay, so to really understand your advantage, we first have to look at the competition. The world of professional money managers, it seems so intimidating, right? But Lynch points out that they're playing with some serious handicaps, things that actually hold them back in a big way.
Just take a look at this comparison. It says it all. Professional fund managers are trapped. They are terrified of something called diverse performance, which is just a fancy way of saying they're scared to death of looking bad if they bet on something different and it goes wrong. So they stick to these pre-approved lists of stocks and follow the herd. You, on the other hand, you're totally free. You answer a nobody. You can be patient, and you can buy that amazing little company that no one on Wall Street has even heard of yet.
And this quote right here, it just nails the problem perfectly. For so many of these pros, it's not about finding the next big thing, it's about job security. It's more important for them not to look bad if they fail than it is to score a huge win. Sticking with a well-known stock like IBM is safe for their career, even if it loses money. But chasing an unknown winner? That's a risk they can't take. And that right there, that creates a huge blind spot that you can drive a truck through.
Okay, so if the pros are all tied up in knots, where does your big advantage come from? Well, Lynch's big idea is that it comes from your actual real life. We're talking about the products you buy, the restaurants you love, that new store that just opened up down the street. You see these things long before they ever pop up on Wall Street's radar.
And listen, this isn't just a theory. Look at Lynch's own stories. He found some of his absolute biggest winning stocks outside of the office. He's on a trip in California, tries a Taco Bell burrito for the first time, and thinks, wow, this is going to be huge. His wife, Carolyn, comes home raving about these new legs pantyhose that are flying off the shelves. He saw the power of Apple because his kids had one. And Dunkin' Donuts, he loved the coffee. It really can be that simple.
And we're not just talking about fun stories here, okay? This stuff made real money. He took his wife's observation about legs seriously, he did his homework on the parent company, Hanes, and bam! The stock became what he called a six-bagger. That means it went up 6 times in value. Think about that. That's the power of on-the-ground knowledge, turning a simple shopping trip into a massive investment win.
So the crucial point here is this. Your life, your job, your hobbies, the things you buy for your family, it's not just life, it's research. You are seeing what's actually happening on Main Street, sometimes years before some analyst in a skyscraper in New York has any clue what's going on.
Okay, great. So you've used your amateur's edge. You've spotted a really promising company. But now what? How do you know if a great product will make a great stock? Well, lucky for us, Lynch gave us a practical checklist. And honestly, some of this stuff might surprise you.
Here's the secret sauce. Peter Lynch loved boring. I mean, really boring companies. Think about a business that makes cardboard boxes or processes coupons. Why? Because nobody's paying attention to them. That's where you find the incredible bargains. He also loved companies with silly names, like Pet Boys, because they don't attract trendy investors. And then you look for the good signs. Are the execs buying their own stock? Is the company buying back its own shares? Those are huge green flags.
He also hunted for something he called asset plays, which is basically a real-life treasure hunt. It's when a company is sitting on something incredibly valuable that the market has totally missed. It's like buying an old cheap house and finding out there's a priceless painting hidden in the attic. So you have a railroad company that also happens to own millions of acres of valuable land that's not being factored into the stock price. This is where your local knowledge can be a massive advantage. All right, but here's the thing. It's not all about picking winners. A huge part of this is just knowing what to avoid. You have to play good defense. And Lynch was super clear about some very common traps that can completely sink your portfolio if you're not careful.
He even coined this brilliant term, diversification. It's exactly what it sounds like.
It's when a successful company gets a ton of cash and a huge ego and decides, hey, you know what we should do? We should go buy a business in an industry we know absolutely nothing about. Like an oil company buying a department store. They're trying to diversify, but all they're doing is making things worse.
And finally, and this is a big one, you have to resist the hype. Lynch's biggest warning was to stay away from the hottest stock in the hottest industry. Why? Well, think about it. As soon as an industry gets hot, everybody and their brother jumps in to compete, and all the profits get squeezed out. And if you ever hear a company described as the next IBM or the next Amazon, just run. As Lynch famously said, the next of something almost never is.
So, what's the bottom line to all of this? It's surprisingly simple, really. It comes down to patience and common sense. You do your homework, you invest in businesses you actually understand, and then, and this is the hardest part, you have to learn to ignore the daily noise and panic of the market. Because if you've picked good companies, time is your greatest ally.
So I'll just leave you with this final thought. The next great investment opportunity, that next 10-bagger that could change your life, probably isn't buried in some complex report from a Wall Street analyst. It's probably right in front of you. It's in your kitchen, it's in your garage, it's at the mall. The only question is, what are you seeing that they aren't?